Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So as you can see, I have made a little change. My hair is peach again, or peachy orangey. I did it myself, so it's not turned out quite the same as it would if I went to a hairdresser's. So here in Glasgow, we're back in lockdown, so I wasn't able to get my roots done, which my lovely friend had booked me in for because the salons are all closed. So that means I'm back off work, as I mentioned in my previous video, to have a little bit more time to do these videos. No hairdressers plus roots equals peach hair, or pink hair. I just used the Bleached London burnt orange colour that I used in a video before. I have a video about how I got my peach hair. That was in a vlog, so I'll link it up here. Yeah, let me know what you think of the hair. I think it gives me a little bit of an edge. So today's look is going to be based on the Anastasia Jackie Aina palette. So this is a palette here. So I've had this palette for ages, but I've not used it too much because it doesn't have a nice transition colour in it, which is my main issue with most palettes. They don't have transition colours, they only have either dark colours or they're all too light. So I've yet to find my perfect palette that has a nice mix of light tones, dark tones, warm colours, cool colours, maybe some shimmers thrown in. So if you know any palettes like that, then definitely let me know, because that is an ongoing search as a makeup artist. Still, through all these years of doing makeup, I've still never found my perfect palette because they never have the right mix of colours for me. So yeah, as you can see, I feel like this palette is really missing a colour slightly lighter than this one. So in place of that, I'm going to use this new MAC shadow that I got. So this is called Clout, and it's one of their powder kiss eyeshadows, which are very matte eyeshadows, and they're really nice texture actually. So I'm going to start off with the skin as always, but firstly I'm going to brush up my eyebrows so you can see what they're actually like. So I gave myself a brow lamination just before the salon closed. That is much better. I actually have eyebrows now. So I was talking about the brow lamination in my last video, and you can really see the difference from when I hadn't brushed them up to when I brushed them up, and they just sit in the position that you put them in. It's really amazing. This is an absolute must-have treatment for me, and it's one that I offer in the salon, but like I said, it's closed right now, so I'm a bit gutted about that. But anyway, let's go into the skin. So I've already prepped my skin with the Bobbi Brown face base. I find this is good for all skin types really. If you've got dry skin, just use a little bit more. If you've got oily skin, just use slightly less. But I find it's particularly good for smoothing the skin. If you have texture issues or anything like me, then it's really nice for smoothing and good for around the nose, etc. So I love this primer. I did put that on a while ago, so before I put my foundation on, I'm going to use some of the New Skin Hydrating Mist. I find it makes a massive difference, and the foundation just glides on much better. So I always add in that step if I've applied my primer or my moisturiser quite a while before filming. I've applied this about 2 hours ago. I was doing a little Instagram course there because, again, if you didn't already know, I also have a social media management business which is only just started, and because I do have another job as well working from home that's very long shifts like I mentioned in my last video, I've just really struggled to have time for everything. But now with the salon being closed, that's freed up some time, so I'm able to put more time into my YouTube and to my social media business. So I was doing an online Instagram course for that, just to better my services for my clients. Yeah, my page is very small, so definitely give it a follow. It's Amplify Socials with an S, because you're amplifying your socials, like your social channels, aren't you? So definitely give me a follow over there, because I do have lots of tips on how to increase your Instagram engagement, have better content, get more followers, etc. So for the skin, I'm using the It Cosmetics CC Cream in light and medium mixed again, like I did in my previous video. I still really enjoy this. It's very moisturising and nice light coverage for days when I'm just either at home or out to the supermarket, which is kind of all you can do at the moment. So I'm just blending that in with the Olivia Hale Contour Brush. So as you can see, that makes a massive difference. So although it's very lightweight and natural, it actually does give really good coverage. I'm just going to add some more. Then for concealer, I'm using the Maybelline Eraser Concealers. So under the eyes, I'm using light, and then round the face, I'm using nude. And yet again, I forgot to put my Becca under eye corrector on, so I'll just add that in. So that's a light to medium corrector. Then I'm just going to brighten under the eyes slightly more with the Urban Decay All Nighter Concealer in light warm. So this has amazing coverage, so if you have any really stubborn blemishes or really dark under eyes, then I would really recommend this. It's fab. And I'm taking the shade Nude on the rest of the skin and just blending that in with the same brush. So then for highlighter, I'm applying the iconic Illuminator drops in Original. So I actually really like to apply these after I put my foundation on now, because they apply slightly stronger. And then for powder, I'm using the NYX HD powder. So I think this is a MAC 135 brush, or 133. It's a very small one anyway, I can't see because it's so old from when I worked there. and make sure you set round the nose very, very well. So for bronzer and blush, I'm using one of my Hourglass palettes. So this is one of the Hourglass Ambient Light and Edit palettes. So it's got a bronzer, some blushes and some of the lovely powders at the top. So if you have dry skin or you like a very dewy look like me, then these powders at the top are great because they do slightly set your makeup. Obviously they take away that oily tacky feeling of the skin when you put on foundation before it dries. But if you're oily skin, these will not work as a setting powder for you, but they're a nice little touch-up powder. If you're finding your face is looking too matte and you want to bring a little bit of life back into the skin, these powders are amazing. These palettes are a bit of an investment. They are quite expensive, but I've had this one for a few years and it's never done me wrong. As you can see, there's still loads left. So I'm taking the bronzer colour, which is Luminous Bronze Light, and just applying that to the cheeks. So it's a really, really nice natural bronzer, as you can see, and it just blends in beautifully with any other products you have with it. And then I'm just taking a tiny bit just around the forehead, just at the temples, just to add a bit more 3D to the skin. Then for blush, I'm using some of the Luminous Flush colour, so it's a nice pink just at the top of the cheekbones, and just sweep it down through to the apple. So they're very, very pigmented, as you can see. I put quite a lot on, but that is because I'm going to add a highlighter, and as soon as you add highlighter, half your blush disappears. So again, my trusty favourite, I'm going to use my Illamasqua OMG highlighter because it's so multi-tonal and beautiful. I'm not going to spray the brush before I use this because I don't want it to be too strong, and that just diffuses the look of the blush as well. But I feel like with this peach here I can get away with a lot more in the cheeks and the eyes probably too. So then for brows, I'm taking the Glossier Boy Brow, so I'll zoom in a little bit for the eyes. So I've got the Glossier Boy Brow in brown, so I've already brushed my brows up just with a brow brush. I'm going to now take this tinted brow gel and just make sure they sit up properly the way I want them to sit, and just help to tint the brows a little bit too. So this is great. This has probably been my favourite tinted brow gel. I've used other ones, and as you'll see in my previous videos, I like one by Douglas as well, which is a brand I get when I go to Germany. So I've just applied it a bit harsher at the ends just to really grab onto those hairs. And you can apply several layers of this if you want. I do prefer this product once it starts to dry out. I think it becomes better. I always find with these brow gels, when you first get them, they're too wet and they don't apply that great to the brows. Once it becomes a bit drier, it's better, and it really separates the eyebrows nicely too. So does anyone else notice this little dent in my face? It really annoys me when I put highlighter on in videos. You can see it so much. Like, I've actually filmed a few videos and then deleted them because of this little thing. I really don't get what it is. I might get a bit of filler or something put there, but it's really, really bugs me. And you can only see it when I have highlighter on because obviously it emphasises it. I should learn and not put highlighter there, but I like the look of it. But anyway, that's the story for another day. So I'm taking the Skinny Brow Pencil by Primark in dark and just filling in any areas of the eyebrows that still need a little bit more colour, mostly underneath and at the ends, maybe a little bit through the arch. But as you can see, that brow lamination does absolute wonders for my eyebrows. I really do have terrible eyebrows, and I'm not afraid to say that, like, they are terrible. And this just gives them a new lease of life. Like, I could never achieve that brow without a brow lamination. It just wouldn't happen. So much better. So then we're going to move on to the Jackie Aina palette by Anastasia. I'm only going to use a few shades from it, so I want to keep this nice and simple. This is just a daytime look. I'm literally only going to the shops. I'm going to start on a small brush. This is the Morphe M507. So I'm going to take this shade here, Ginger, and just apply that in the crease. So these shadows are very, very pigmented. They're amazing. So I'm just taking that in the crease and just sweeping that along. So you don't need to worry about this being super neat, because we're going to blend it out with that MAC colour that I showed earlier. So this is just to get some colour on the eye. You do want a decent amount of colour on there. Fab! And then next, I'm switching to one of the Real Techniques Bold Metals collection brushes. This is very similar to the likes of a MAC 217. And then I'm taking that MAC shadow called Clout. So it's a nice transition medium shade. So let's see if it pairs nicely with this Anastasia shadow. Yeah, it blends really nice. I do like this, definitely. They're very, very different eyeshadow formulas. The MAC one is quite dry and is a lot harder to blend. Like, it doesn't go on quite as seamlessly as the Anastasia. I feel like the MAC one doesn't move about the skin and doesn't glide about the skin as easy, whereas the Anastasia shadows are so pigmented some people would struggle to work with them and would maybe prefer the formula of the MAC ones because they are drier and don't blend out quite as easy. You're not going to get as much pigment from them as you would with the Anastasia ones. So if you're not too great with your placement and your blending of shadows, you may actually prefer the MAC ones. And I'm just going to take a little bit more of that and just really start to blend it now with the first Anastasia shade. And just really diffuse it up and out. Like that. And then I'm taking that Morphe brush again and just blending the two together in the crease. And just get a little bit more of ginger. And I'm just applying it slightly higher this time. So every time, if you've got hooded eyes like me, the best thing to do is to apply a little bit, then look straight ahead and see what the positioning is like. So you can see this one's slightly higher than this one. That's why I'm just slowly bringing this up slightly, in the middle. Then I'm going to take some of those shades under the bottom lash line. So I'm taking ginger as well on a Peaches PC20 brush. I'm just looking up and just applying that right under the lash line, all the way along. And then I'll blend it out with the MAC shade again. Then next I'm going to blend the shades Edges and Credit together and apply that now to the corner. So I'm just taking that same Morphe brush and I'm just applying that where I want the shadow to be a little bit deeper, because you do want to create contrast in the eyes, remember, like I've mentioned in all my previous videos. So next onto shimmer. So I'm using the shade Zam from the Anastasia palette, and I'm just taking that on that same PC20 brush from Peaches and Cream, and this is such a nice colour. And then for the inner corner I'm going to use the shade Trust Issues. So it's a nice icy white shade, and just apply that with a small brush just right in the inner corner, and that will just add a nice bit of light to the eyes. And then for the first part of the eyelid I'm going to use the shade Soliel, so just slightly lighter than the first shimmer. And I'm just going to blend between the shade and the inner corner just to brighten up the whole inner part of the eye like that. Then I'm going to go back to the shade Credit, the dark one, and just take that on the small Morphe brush and just blend in between the matte and the shimmer colour, just so there's no harsh lines between the two. So just with a very light hand, barely touching the eye like that, and that's how you blend nicely in between each of the shades. So it should be just a nice transition and it should just be seamless. So I've just started applying my MAC Extended Play Mascara. You know, I always use this. So I've applied that on the bottom lashes and just on the top of the top lashes, but not underneath. So I always coat at the top of the eyelashes first to make sure the eyelashes are nice and dark and cover any eyeshadow that might have fallen onto the eyes. Before I finish off my mascara, I'm going to use some of the MAC Teddy Eye Pencil. So I found this the other day and I haven't used it for months and months, so I thought I would use it again. And I'm just applying a really thin line just along the lash line. So because this is a dark brown, slightly shimmery shade, it's a lot more forgiving than the likes of a black eyeliner. So I do prefer this once it's smudged in anyway. I really don't like harsh eyeliner on myself. So it's very, very easy to use. And then I'm going to finish off my mascara. So I'm using the Maybelline Lash Sensational as always. So I'm not actually going to use false lashes with this because I just don't find that I need it. I really like my natural lashes, to be honest. But if you do have shorter or more sparse lashes, I would definitely pop on a little strip lash with this, or even some individual lashes would be nice too. So that's mascara done. So I think you'll agree I definitely don't need false lashes, but if I was going out I would definitely add those. So then for lip liner I'm using one of my trusty favourites, the Barry & Russet liner. Then for lipstick I'm using my trusty Natalie Grace Cosmetics Ever After lipstick. So I especially love this when I have peachy hair. It really matches my hair very nicely, if I do say so myself. And it works so well with that liner, I love it. But it wouldn't be a look from me without a little bit of lip gloss, would it? So 10 points if you guess what lip gloss I'm going to use. Let me know in the comments. Yay! You guessed it, it's a Fenty Glow lip gloss. As always, surprise surprise, I always use this or the pink one, Fussy. Clearly I ain't fussy because I like to use the same products quite a lot, which is just testament to how good they are and how much I love them. And if you've not tried these glosses, they are stunning. Natalie also has lovely lip glazes as well, which she's not long brought out, and she has a new highlighter which I've ordered, so I should get that soon, and I'll show you that in a video once I get that. So that's the finished look there. Very, very glowy. As you can see, there's almost like a mirror shine on the cheeks, which I absolutely love. But if you don't want the skin to be as dewy as this, obviously just miss out the powder highlighter and maybe the iconic drops. The thing that gives this look the biggest oomph with highlighter is definitely the iconic drops. But you must remember I'm sitting in front of two strong LED lights, which bounce the light off my face, so any sort of shine on the face really bounces off them. So in a natural light it wouldn't look half as strong as this. So if you want to see more of my day-to-day life and more of my work, then follow me over on Instagram. It's Danielle Dickson MU. And if you want to see more looks from me, let me know in the comments what you want to see, and don't forget to subscribe so you can see my next video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!